we back here, man, exposing a lot of straw man arguments that been put out here about Pan-Africanism. We exposing it. We have to. And, and it's sad that, certain individuals and groups, have to create straw man arguments to stand on instead of standing on the truth. And that's what we exposing here today. Now, understanding that when you start talking about the nature of people, when you talk about disrespect, disrespect is you can get disrespected by any ethnic group, any racial group. You see, so to take a whole group of people or take a whole movement, you see, and try to scandalize that movement because you want that movement out the way. This is really what it is. You want that movement out the way. You can't stand on your own. You see, you got to understand that, family. When people can't stand on their own, then they try to, they begin to scandalize and, and create straw man arguments that, if somebody sit down and explain to you what it is, that's what had to happen. Somebody got to explain to you what Pan-Africanism is. And then once it's explained, then you can see the bullshit that they trying to put down on the people out here. Now, number one, we don't condone no disrespect, period. Especially when it comes amongst black people, And when you start talking about Pan-Africanism, which is an advanced consciousness, that first and foremost is an advanced consciousness that does not deal with disrespect first and foremost. And if at any point in time you find individuals they moving on the disrespectful note, especially amongst black people, you already know they ain't practicing no Pan-Africanism. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that automatically, this, remove you from the consciousness of Pan-Africanism. So that's first and foremost. And so we just wanted to put that out there. And so what's happening is, where they find these niggas at, I don't know. But it's the same type of nigga right here in America. No different. You find these niggas everywhere you go. And so, the ignorant nigga is not unique to any particular ethnic group. No, it's not. You can find those niggas everywhere you go. You can see them. You can see them trying to scam, trying to rob, steal, talk greasy, and everything else. And so, when we start talking about Pan-Africanism, we want to be clear about one thing. And one thing, for sure, that number one, that the spearhead, the fountainhead, the flagship of Pan-Africanism is right here in the United States. Let's be clear about that. Okay? When you start talking about the scholarship, and automatically when you're dealing with Pan-Africanism, you're dealing with an ideology. Okay? That's standing here. Here we go. Is there a link? I don't, only one that's in the top. Yeah. You had to get the URL at the top of the live stream. But anyway, it's an ideology. It's based on an ideology. Just like Christianity is based on the Bible. Islam is based on the Quran. It ain't, these niggas sit out here and tell you, oh, these are Pan-African. Well, show us how you connect them to Pan-Africanism. Explain that to me. I've been a part of Pan-Africanism, man, damn near over 40 years. Yeah, over 40 years. And I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Real talk. You know, so the one there. So when you say Pan-Africanism, like the first, when somebody tell me that and they normally don't even say they say they in the culture. Okay, they say they in the culture, and so when people's hook up, normally the culture, Pan-Africanism, is centered around bookstores. That's first and foremost, and that's where we leave majority of all other communities behind. And I want y'all to remember that when you start talking about black bookstores, the majority of damn near all black bookstores are predominantly Pan-African. Period. Period. That's just a fact. You see? So that's one thing that separates us from everybody else, first and foremost. Most of these groups out here, whether it be the Moorish Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, FBA, all the rest, y'all really is tethers of the Pan-African community. That's what y'all is. Because fun, when you look at the resume, that y'all cannot compare or compete at all. You see? So when you talk about Pan-Africanism, the one thing that separates us is that we about literacy. Each one teach one. And so fundamentally, we didn't have no temple. We didn't have no temple like the Nation of Islam and the Moorish Science Temple and all that. Our functions was literally at bookstores, okay? Because our ideology was about literacy, doing research. Not just, most people's in this culture are readers and researchers. That's first and foremost, you know. And so the thing is, because I did lectures at Truth Bookstore. I did mostly, I ain't gonna say all of my lectures, but a lot of my lectures were centered around bookstores. Okay, a lot of them. And they had all the literature, not just quote unquote what you call Pan-Africanism, but just black American, all type of books from all over the world. You see? And as you listen to these niggas out here talk, they never bring up no literacy because you ain't got what the literature. Let me do the research for myself. Let me, this all this shit you talking, where's the books that backs this up? Give me some literature. I ain't got no, and the crazy thing is, Pan-African bookstores ain't got no problem carrying black books. They don't. They don't care what, they carry, if that's what they want, they carry Islamic books. They carry even the indigenous black and true bookstore. They had all that. They don't, they don't, what they call it, the word, it'll jump in my mouth where, they're not, damn, what is the word I'm looking for? But anyway, it'll pop in my head. But anyway, they carry all that literature. They carry all that damn bias. They're not biased against any group. If you got literature, they carry the literature. That's the one thing. But see, y'all niggas are so jealous hearted. You're jealous hearted because you don't got no literature. So when you come into these black bookstores and and they carry all of literature on black. So that's key. So when you talk about the Pan-African community in the United States of America, that's one clear fact that sets us above and beyond all other groups. The literature that we produce and the scholars, the level of scholarship, the scholars that we had, the numerous scholars. I mean, we talking about hundreds of, scholars that can put out some heavy, heavy literature. You see, so when it comes to that, I don't care if it's the Nation of Islam. I don't care if it's black Christianity, Islam. I don't care if it's the Pan-African community has put out more literature, and our scholars are more world renowned than any other fucking scholars on the planet. That's a fact. That's a fucking fact. You know, and the thing is, these are not preachers. You know why? Because when the people went in there and read the literature and went behind the scholars to back and do the read, because our scholars and teachers always tell us, hey, look into it. That's why the references is there. Y'all don't even put no reference. Not one or two. No, you going, most of our scholars, and they're going to have so many books in the back. Dr. Ben got over 800 references in Black Man of the Nile alone. 800. 800. So you could go in there and literally build your library off of one fucking book to try to, to get all this literature on these different subjects. Oh my God. So that's where we clear. So, flip-flop. See, this will prove that they don't know what the fuck they talking about. You see, those are not no damn Pan-Africanists. Where at? Them niggas, y'all. But see, they attaching the term Pan-African to these flip-flop. You know why? Because a lot of other ideologies they got a problem with, like Christianity. They love white Jesus. The Muslim niggas. We get on Mohammed, we get on, we promote black divinity, black deities, we show and prove that them Abrahamic religions ain't nothing but stolen legacies out of Africa, and a lot of people couldn't take that. So they think because the elders have passed on, they think they can come in and fool the newer generation because they may not know what Pan-Africanism is. But anytime any one of you little Negroes out there, little content creators, want to, you can't explain it to me. That's why y'all don't call my name. I'm waiting on you. I've been begging y'all to call my name and get me on a platform, me and you, but you got to be big enough so I can ragdoll you and show and prove that you don't know what the hell you talking about. And I can see a lot of y'all, I keep my eye on you, and your face is starting to, because I got you, nigga. You can't, and I see y'all bite your tongue now when you say, Pan, yeah, these Pan, not all of them, yeah, I bet. Yeah, y'all, and I see a lot of people, they'll put Umar face on. They'll cut into Umar. They cut into a couple more and shit. What's this other guy name? They cut, but damn, I can't get nobody to cut into me. Yeah, they don't want, because they know what's going to happen to them. Yeah, real talk. But anyway, family, we going to move along. We back here. Generalseti. Make sure y'all click that link down there, Patreon. We got some Show Enough fire over there, man. Woo, too raw for YouTube. Man, it's stacked in there, family. Exquisite lectures you can't find nowhere else. Get over there today, family. See you in a minute. Black Pop.